Welcome to Childcare Rockstar Radio. I am your host, Kris Murray. Childcare leaders around the globe are breaking through challenges, leading the way in innovation, testing new best practices, and impacting children and families in a much more powerful and positive way than ever before. Each week, join me for interviews with early childhood leaders and experts that will leave you inspired to become the next childcare rockstar. Now, let's go. This is Childcare Rockstar Radio, episode 213, featuring Jami Hartmann and Trainual. Hey, folks, welcome back. It's Kris here in the podcasting host seat at Childcare Rockstar Radio, and I'm thrilled to welcome you back. Today, I'm speaking with Jami Hartmann. She is a VP of marketing at Trainual, and we learn a lot about getting your operational stuff together in this episode. Are all the folks on your team in alignment and rowing your boat in the same direction? And as you scale to multiple locations, this can become more and more of a challenge, which may seem obvious, but what's not obvious is getting help in the software lane and best practices to get everybody excited about helping share what are the policies and procedures that they're doing, what are the SOPs, standard operating procedures, and how are they doing things to make things better in your schools? How are they delivering customer excellence for the families and children? So if you can light your team up around this topic, which is oftentimes not that sexy of a topic, not that exciting of a topic or practice in your schools, it's the game changer, because today's parents are not going to put up with messy operations in their preschool or childcare center. They're just not. They're expecting more. And so you've got to be better in this area. And that's where Jami, my guest today, comes in. She shares all sorts of trends, best practices, and things that you can do as a director or owner to improve your operational consistency and fill in the gaps where things may be broken. In today's episode, we are going to talk also about AI and how Trainual is using AI agents or assistants to shortcut your work around getting all of your processes documented and doing your training and onboarding. So using AI is definitely the way to go in today's world. And we talk about how this system can help you find, train, and retain your best team members and shut that revolving door of teachers, because having the ease of operations and getting people excited around this topic is going to really help you with your retention. So, do you have your stuff together? Listen to this episode, make some notes, and grade yourself on how you're doing. And we will like to help you go from a C to an A. Also coming up on the podcast in future episodes, I'm very excited. Just got home from the Childcare Success Summit in Atlanta 2025, and we had the best time. You're going to learn a lot more about what went on and meet your rockstar winner for the coming year, Ashanti Ordone. I actually interviewed her right before we left for Atlanta, and then she won. She won the Childcare Rockstar contest. So you're going to meet her here in the next episode of the podcast. And then I'm interviewing Vance Morris, who I haven't spoken to in almost 7 years. He is in a company that is a Disney expertise and coaching company, and he takes all the Disney secrets around operations and puts them into a training course for leaders and owners to give them the underground secrets and ways of how Disney delivers excellent service. So we're going to talk about that on the podcast coming up. Very excited to revisit life with Vance, Mr. Disney. And then after that, I'm going to do a solo episode. And I'm very excited to share with you that at the summit, I launched my new book, and it's my journey, my story. It's called The Antidote to Fear. Here it is, if you're watching this on YouTube, and you can pick it up on Amazon. I'm very excited to share my journey, my personal story of entrepreneurship. And I finally got it down into a book. And so I'm sharing with you 10 different strategies for how to deal with fear that may come up as an entrepreneur, leader, mom, dad, human. As a human, we all face these fears. And so I'm very excited to help you live your best life and become more free and fall back in love with your business again and your life. So that is my book that just came out. I just launched it last week at the summit, and I'm going to be doing an episode all about a deep dive into those antidotes to fear and how you can use them and apply them today in your business and your life. So looking forward to that one as well. That'll be in early December. So that's a sneak peek of things to come. So don't go anywhere. Stay right with me. Thank you for giving me the time and listening and watching the show. I really appreciate you. And let's get right to it and learn more about Jami Hartmann and her story. But before we do that, I have to tell you that this episode is brought to you in part by Trainual. Running your childcare center shouldn't feel like a full-time game of telephone, but you're constantly reinventing the wheel, babysitting your staff instead of leading your business, and a never-ending onboarding cycle. If this sounds familiar, that's where Trainual comes in. It's the all-in-one operations platform that keeps your center running smoothly without the chaos, and also lets you go away from your schools, go on vacation or go to a conference and not worry. With Trainual, it's easier than ever to document, organize, and train your staff. Learn more and start streamlining at trainual.com. That's trainual.com. And be sure to mention Childcare Success or the Childcare Rockstar Radio podcast when you talk to them. So thank you so much again for tuning in, and let's get right to it. Without any further ado, meet Jami Hartmann, and let's go. Welcome back, folks. I'm excited to introduce you to my friend Jami Hartmann with Trainual. Jami, how are you today?
Doing so good, Kris. How are you?
Doing fantastic. So what is your role at Trainual?
I have the honor of being the VP of marketing at Trainual. So I oversee all of our campaigns, our ads, events, social, you name it.
Cool. And where are you sitting right now? Where are you located?
I am in Orange County, California. So it's not a bad place to live, I have to say. We recently relocated from Arizona. So we're Arizona people living in Southern California right now.
Okay. Well, it looks beautiful where you are.
It's very nice.
Yes. You're digging it. That's good.
Yeah.
So are you working remotely, or is your team mostly remote at Trainual?
So we have about 60% of our staff is local to Phoenix. During the pandemic, we started hiring, all over the country. I was local to Phoenix and have since moved, but overall it's about 60% are local to Phoenix. And, it depends team by team, which is kind of interesting. So some teams are only local, some are only remote, and some are hybrid. Marketing is one of those examples that we have people all over the country.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
So tell us about how you serve the early childhood industry. Tell us more about Trainual.
Yeah. So Trainual is an all-in-one employee training platform. And so at the core of what we do is really about alignment. And so, yes, you can onboard and train your staff. Yes, you can create accountability by seeing if they've gone through the content. Everything's searchable. Like all of that is true. It's a very efficient and scalable way to scale your company. But it's really about alignment. So does everybody know the mission and vision? Does everyone truly understand the core customers and the families that they serve? Do they understand all the rules and regulations? Like things change all of the time, and it's a tool. It's like a digital version of your childcare center. Think of it like that.
Cool. So is everyone who's on your boat rowing in the same direction?
Correct. Yes.
Essentially. Cool.
And I'll just say, like, as a parent, you can tell when a center is not. Like there are just things that you're seeing, you're like, that's strange, or why is that happening? Or that was different last week, or that was different with this team, all of this.
Right.
It is very tangible to the families.
Mm-hmm. The inconsistency or consistency in operations based on how your staff knows the playbook, like it's that I feel like is the cornerstone for going towards great customer service and giving parents that exceptional experience. It's very difficult to do that if you aren't all on the same page together.
Yeah, it's genuinely almost impossible.
Right.
And I think too, like that's those, like having that as table stakes then for adding locations and creating scalability because you want to replicate that like exceptional experience that your families are having. And then that just creates more flywheel.
Cool. So tell us a little bit more about Jami. What are some highlights of your professional journey and how did you land at Trainual?
So I have always been on the creative side of work. That's always what excited me. I went to undergrad business school where everybody was doing finance and going to Wall Street. And I just wasn't that interested. I also just wasn't great at it. So, if I had a creative class, a marketing class, anything that required projects, working with people, thinking outside the box, standing out is really where I always excelled. So I started actually in music and entertainment. So I worked for Viacom, went to school on the East Coast, so lived in New York City every summer. And so I got to work with some incredible brands. And after that, moved back home to Arizona, worked for some consulting companies, commercial real estate. But again, always on the marketing side. And actually, so Trainual at the time, so I've been with the company for almost 60 years now. And the company is not that old. So I've been with the company for much of its history.
Right.
And when Trainual was first getting started, we had just raised our Series A and we were hiring. And so I had talked to Sasha, who's our VP of People Operations. And we first started talking, and I was like, Sasha, just so you know, I'm 6 months pregnant right now. So, and I thought that was going to be it.
Right.
Like maybe, a different time. And even from my perspective, like joining a startup pregnant, like with your child, it's like, it's a risky move.
Yes.
And I think we talk a lot about like red flags, but like green flags is Trainual was still wanted to hire me, still like did hire me. And so I was, I think the 4th marketing hire. And, the company has obviously grown significantly since. We've gone through so much more rounds of funding, the pandemic. I feel like there's just been so much that has changed. And it's been really incredible to see the growth of the company and all of these different changes. And I think at the core of that growth is that we genuinely care about our customers, and like our success is dependent on our customer success. And so like, if they are scaling and they are growing and they are bringing in more revenue because they have more alignment and they can replicate that across other locations, like that is what creates a great customer for us. And so it's just been a really crazy ride, and especially being a new mom through all of it.
Right. So you are the mother of one child?
So I have 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Yes. So I have a 3 and 5-year-old boy.
Okay.
Boys. So there are times where I'm like, and they're like crazy boys. Like I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I don't know what is going on right now. Like you guys it's literally going crazy. But we're just in the phase of, I would say, almost getting out of it. People are like, oh, you're in it right now. And it's like, for a long time, I'm like, yeah, I'm in it. And so I do feel a big obligation, I think, to future moms, like at Trainual or anywhere, that, I'm very honest when people are like, hey, how's it going? And, instead of being like, oh, great, awesome, I've got it all together and, all of that. I'm like, no, like it's a madhouse over here. I've been through war before even sitting down on Zoom, but like, I'm here, like, let's do it.
All right.
But I think that's one of the things, like, being the first person going on maternity leave at Trainual and helping to impact that, like our policy and all of those things. Like I take it with such responsibility. But yeah, it's, I think my littlest one just got potty trained. So like, packing the diaper bag now, I'm like, this is easy.
Right.
Easy. Just need snacks and water.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a big milestone. I remember that moment. So congrats on that. Yeah. With potty training, it was always like, well, give a reward. So my son was able to be incentivized with blueberries, and my daughter wanted nothing to do with anything healthy and wanted M&Ms as her incentive. So, each child is different. Not saying I gave in to the candy thing, but And I totally get where you're at with the insanity, but it's kind of just like, love it now because everybody tells you who's an older mom, probably, or older dad, like it does go so fast. And so thanks for sharing that. What are your
Yeah.
child's names?
Theo and Henry.
Ah, that's so
Yeah.
cute. I love
Yeah,
both
there
of
is
those.
that's such a good point about like I can't tell you how many times we get stopped with our boys of parents just being like, almost tears in their eyes. They're like, hold
Yeah.
on to these days. And it's like from where we're like, sometimes when like things are really going crazy with the boys, my
Yeah.
husband will look over at me and be like, just cherish these days. It's like
Exactly.
become a joke. But if there
Yeah.
is something, like I was thinking about that, that's just like such a perspective that parents of older kids have. And it's like there's something there of like, how do you tap into the, knowing that this is so temporary in the long scheme of things.
Yes. So my favorite moment thinking back that's like etched in my brain forever, and you'll have these, is when my it's probably 5-year-old son woke up his little sister, who was probably 2.5 at the time, on Christmas morning. And I look up the stairs and they both have their onesies on, jammies, their Christmas onesies.
Mm-hmm.
And he's holding her hand and they're walking down the stairs together.
Gosh, that gets me.
Yeah, on Christmas morning. So you'll have those moments. There's ones in the backyard of them playing and just those memories. You'll never forget them.
Yeah. And how old are your kids now?
They are 23 and 20.
Wow.
Yep. So Theo and Henry, I love that. And so tell us something about you that not that many people know about you personally.
So I think this is a good fun fact, but if I've ever done a fun fact with anyone, you will have heard this.
Okay.
But my typical fun fact is that when I was 15, I was on Wheel of Fortune, like the actual show.
No way.
Yes, it was Teen Best Friends Week. And my grandparents were really into Wheel of Fortune and they were doing auditions and they're like, you girls should go do it. And so, we couldn't even drive at the time. I think we had driven to the conference
studio
center to interview.
Cool.
And, it was just a fun experience. We actually we were winning the whole time. So we had like money. And then we landed on, it was like a 50-50 shot at, I think it was $50,000. And we took it and then went over the thing and it was like, we went bankrupt.
Right.
And yeah. So I could say I lost a lot of money on Wheel of Fortune, especially at the time. That's like, we would have made it, right? You don't have to work anymore with that kind of money when you're that.
Right. Yeah.
But that was a good lesson in risk taking, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I would do it, like if I would make that same decision, but how often do you have those chances? So I don't know. It's a good move.
Love it. That's very, very fun. My fun fact is I am very good at that game. And every time I play with people, they're like, you should audition for the show. So I don't know. Now that Ryan Seacrest is hosting, maybe I will, because I'm a Ryan fan.
I will support you.
Okay, cool. Fun. So tell us a little bit about at Trainual, what you guys are seeing. It sounds like your ideal client sweet spot is probably someone that owns between 3 and 10 centers or maybe more. I don't know if you have an ideal avatar of and you have small ones too, I'm sure, that are in growth mode.
Totally. Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
So we have, it depends, I would say. The sort of the bare minimum that we find, like the very low end of, not even with childcare centers, but just any customer at Trainual, is at least 10 employees. Once you have more than 10 employees, that's when things start to get a little bit more complicated. And as you grow from there, you have leaders, you have departments, you have people that are owning specific areas of the business that are then working with other people under them. And that's where sort of like alignment starts to break if you're not intentional about it. And I would say, like, on average, if you have over 25 employees, you need a tool like Trainual.
Right.
And then as you grow, you have in multi-locations, franchises are great examples of like industries or subsets of industries that really, really need and value Trainual because they are trying to replicate like what is working across many places. But again, it doesn't, like, we have tons of customers that just have one location, but maybe they're hiring, they have seasonal employees, turnover is really high. Processes are constantly changing. Maybe there's a regulatory aspect where they need compliance as well. That's typically our avatar.
Mm-hmm. So let's take an example of somebody that's listening to this podcast might have an operations manual that is out of date, or maybe it's not even completed, because that's always a pain point for our childcare owners. And then they might have all of their onboarding and training videos in folders on Google Drive, because that's as far as they've taken it. So tell us a little bit about when you meet a childcare client, and this could serve other niches and verticals as well. Where are they at now? Like, what's the gap, and where do you take them from, like, maybe moving off of Google Drive into something that's more sophisticated, which is Trainual? Just talk a little bit about that shift, or how that gap gets filled.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's funny that we call it graduating out of Google Docs.
Right.
And it's true. Like you use it, and when you don't have as many employees, like you can get by just enough without needing a tool. And that's where it's like, yes, if you're super aspirational and you don't have a ton of employees, but like you want to get started as soon as possible, like sure, we'd love to have you as a customer. But typically what we see is customers come to us with some stuff documented. And that could be in Google, it could be SharePoint, it could be videos. There's a lot of people that still have like actual manuals printed out, and it's in a binder. And
Right.
obviously that originates somewhere digitally, but like it's usually spread across multiple places. And so like, even if you think about what is the experience of someone trying to, if ideally, even if it's all documented, like what is the experience of someone trying to consume all of that information in all these different platforms? And then you obviously have like in-person training or someone live telling you things. And so that is super inefficient, super inconsistent,
Yes.
which is what's also hard, and it's impossible to scale. And
Mm-hmm.
so what we do with Trainual, and the product, if anyone's listening to this and has tried Trainual in the past, over the last 9 months, the product has changed so much in such a powerful way, in that you can get started like with a very simple piece of content. You can drag and drop in a PDF and assign that out. You can record a video from, say, the director records a video, adds that, assigns it out. You can require completion for that video. It's all more bite size, which is how we listen to a lot of customer feedback that it's hard to get started and it's hard
Right.
to document. Like we get that. And we've changed the product to make it much easier to get things in. And then every customer goes through with our implementation team. So you get a dedicated implementation rep, and they like work with you for 4 weeks on a plan for how to get up and running, things migrated. Where do you want to start? How you assign content is by, like, we call them groups. Groups are made of people, locations. So you kind of configure your groups, and then you create your content, and it's like off to the races. And so, and I will also say that one of the biggest like breakthroughs when I talk to customers and prospects is a lot of people think that it should be one person doing all of this.
Mm.
And if you think of it like that, that is so intimidating. And that's like, yeah, I don't have time for that. Like I've got other things that are more pressing, that are probably going to drive immediate revenue for the business.
Right.
It is something that you need to align on, like as a leadership team.
Yeah.
And how it works well is like whoever is in charge of a process, whoever is in charge of X, Y, and Z, they document it, right? They are the owner, they are the person responsible. And sure, that's an easier way to get things like documented, but it also creates accountability for them. And so as things are updated, or say someone comes to ask them a question, like they no longer have to just repeat themselves over and over again. It's, hey,
Right.
check Trainual.
Yeah.
Trainual. Like we even at Trainual, like we'll check each other sometimes, where someone will be like, hey, what's this question? And someone will be like, hey, it's in the Trainual right here.
Right.
So like we still have slip ups, so to speak, but like as a rule of thumb,
Mhm.
everyone internally will check training before you ask a question, which frees up obviously all of our individual contributors' time to be doing the things that they should and not just answering questions that other people like are just trying to find the information from.
Right. So that's a great best practice, is not assigning this to one person. If you want it to get implemented and adopted and bought into quickly and get it really ramping up, you got to get your leadership team everybody needs to buy in, and then everybody needs to start adding all of their pieces and
Yeah.
processes into
Yep.
it and hold
Yeah.
each other accountable.
Yeah. And I think there's like phasing of like, okay, here's, our top 10 process and policies that we need to get in by end of quarter. Like that's you start bite size and then
Right.
that's when it's like, okay. And then you have this like, it's never and Kris, our founder, says this a lot. Like, it's not that everything needs to be documented. Like, that's not it either. I think that's a big misconception of like everything that everybody does needs to. It's really like, what do you want to repeat and what's working? And
Right.
that's what you should document. So, like on the marketing side at Trainual, for example, we probably document the least comparatively to other teams.
Mhm.
And that is because so much of what we do is experimental. And so we're testing new ad channels, we're coming up with new creative, we're all sorts of stuff. We're adding new tools, so seeing if it works. And so much is changing. And then when something starts to click and we're like, okay, let's repeat this motion over and over again,
Mhm.
immediately into Trainual. And
Mhm.
that, I think the other thing too that we haven't really talked about so far is just the searchability and access to information.
Mm.
And that is like ChatGPT has fundamentally changed how people find answers.
Right.
And, your staff is no different. And so we've always had search and AI search and Trainual. But now it's like if say someone on your staff has a question about a policy or a process and they're digging through SharePoint or Google Drive, or they're looking through manual like papers, it's like not gonna happen. Like
Right.
it's just not a good process. And so
Right.
in Trainual, one of the things we recently rolled out was like an AI assistant. And that is like it's static throughout the whole experience if you want it. And you can have a conversation. You can ask it like, hey, what's the process for submitting PTO? Or what's the policy on, food allergens or whatever it may be. It's like everything is surfaced to them. And so there's like this, once it's documented, it's like the gift that keeps on giving and freeing
Mhm.
time.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a huge, huge piece, is the AI agent component of it.
Yeah.
So that's very hot. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, like just if we're talking about AI stuff, the content creation piece is fully AI driven. If that's something that, say you don't have a policy for something or you don't have a process and you just need a starting point, that's also all built into the tools. So you can just say like, write me a policy on this for, this industry or something. And
Right.
and you can edit it and do all of the things that you would normally want to do.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm just curious what other industries, niches, or verticals you guys, I mean, I'm sure it's broad, but are there other ones besides childcare that you kind of focus in on or you've gotten a lot of clients from?
Yeah. So it's such an interesting question. And as a marketer, I wish that there was like a few that just blew us out of the water.
Right.
Then we could go a little bit deeper on those.
Yes.
But the reality is that Trainual works really well for any people powered business. And so
Okay.
you could say, like, okay, most businesses are people powered. So, like, what does that actually mean?
Mhm.
And it means that in order to grow or scale your company, you need to add people. And so service-based businesses,
Mhm.
so agencies, law offices, contractors, construction, HVAC, plumbing, anything where it's like, okay, we need to grow our revenue, we need to add people. That's where
Yeah.
Trainual is like a no-brainer because
Mhm.
it's like this efficiency piece that's going to
Yeah.
make all of your effort like have such a higher ROI and then free up the people that are like, for example, take like an HVAC technician. Like typically how they train is they have their senior techs training the new techs. And from a business perspective, you got to think like, is that the best use of a senior tech's time? Is constantly training new people? It's like, no, they should be out there billing. Those are your like highest value staff members. And so,
Yeah.
and that's like, if you think about that in the childcare space as well, like there are, there's so much that's done by osmosis or through people. And sure, there's always going to be a place for that. Like having a conversation with someone that's in the current role that you're going to be doing, it's like, you can't replace that. And so like, we still need that as an element, but there's so much information that you can give a new hire or an existing member of like a change or something. Like there's a process change or a policy change or anything like that. There's so much information you can deliver with the press of a button. And then again, the accountability piece is really important. Because I mean,
Awesome.
you can see who has gone through the content, who's completed
Mhm.
it, who did because we have tests and quizzes that you can create as well, also AI generated. So you can just say, create a test for me. Like, what did they get on the score? Did they actually like read the material? And it's not just like, okay, clicking through the button, got it, got the training, but it's specific to, your center. It's not this like cookie cutter pre-built content that applies to like, every childcare center in the United States. Like it's
Right.
how you
Mhm.
want your staff to operate.
Right. Well, that's cool. I didn't know that you had the capability of creating assessments or tests and quizzes. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And there's different types you can do, multiple choice, short answer, whatever. So
Mhm.
but yeah,
Mhm.
that's been a feature that a lot of customers have loved.
Awesome. What are some industry trends that you're seeing that your clients are experiencing?
Yeah. I think at the core, I would say it's like finding, training, and retaining staff.
Mhm.
I think that's probably the biggest, there's people are just inherently unpredictable and hard. Like even as, a manager, when I have new people managers on my team that are going to start managing someone, I'm like, I tell them like, this is a lot harder than you think it's going to be. Like managing people and emotions. And then even with childcare, it's like you're managing parents and children. It's like you have the hardest job. Um,
Yeah.
but I think that is the biggest problem. And I think it's, you can get a software to help with a lot of these, like a applicant tracking system, ATS to
Mhm.
find and source, say, new teachers or staff. The training element is typically, I would say, under invested in. And so if you're thinking about your competitors' centers and what they're doing, or what is the best of the best in your region doing, I guarantee you that they have some sort of more sophisticated training program and SOPs and policies in place than scattered docs everywhere. And if you
Yeah,
think, it's like that becomes a competitive advantage.
for sure. It still shocks me how many childcare center owners I talk to that have no formal training in place. I'm like, what? And I can't imagine how they actually operate. It's shocking to me, Jami. I'm like, in 2025, like seriously, you just put a new hire in the classroom and they learn by osmosis.
Yeah.
Like what? Anyways, it happens. It's out there.
Yeah. And so as someone who, I've always been a working mom. My kids have gone to preschools. I've done it. Two kids, different ages. I've moved states. I found preschools and childcare centers in Arizona and California. I've seen it all as a parent. And I'm sure a lot of the listeners know this, but like the parents are constantly talking about the different options, what they like and what they don't like. We're
Yes,
always about it.
all the
And
time.
people are always asking me, like
Mhm.
newer moms, hey, what's the best preschool? What's the best Montessori school? What's the best non-Montessori school? And it's just this conversation of, hey, did you like it? What did you like? What didn't you like?
Mhm.
And in my experience, the thing that always turns me off the most is the constant turnover of teachers. That is
Yep.
such a red flag as a parent.
Yep.
And that we here in California, my son went to a center here, and it the actual lead teacher was fantastic. She was great. She was getting her master's, but she couldn't be there a lot of the days. And so they had a few people come in, they were temps. The director was doing circle time at some points, and I was like, this is a revolving door.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't want my son in this environment. I don't think it's
Yes.
necessarily hurting him, but there's better options at this point with more
Mm-hmm.
consistency that my young son really needs.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and on the flip side, it's like when you're doing a tour, knowing that the teachers have been there a long time is like one of the biggest things that I'm like, awesome. That's great. And that's universally what I talk to with a lot of parents. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, and I think part of that, if we're tying this back to what, like how you create that, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like that is a byproduct of having a very well-run center.
Program. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, it's like things fall apart. And then, that's that's super visible to families. But it's really like the core of how to run your center.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah. Parents, harkening back to my years of being at the pool, at the gym with my little ones, at a cocktail party, at a neighborhood party, having dinner with another family, we were always talking about our daycare center experiences and what was good and what wasn't, and staff turnover. And you're right, there is no bigger red flag than that revolving door of teachers. In fact, I left one of the nation's leading chains, pulled my kids right out because I just saw a revolving door especially in the older infant. It was like the 12 to 18 month infant room, young toddlers. And like literally there was a different teacher in there every week that would not even really talk to me. And I'm like, okay, this has to end.
Yeah, this is done.
I'm out.
Yeah. And I think too, the other thing is like, that's hard to necessarily like put your finger on, but there's also an element of like communication to parents and families that sometimes it's like the place that my boys are at now. It's like, I get a notice. I just got notice yesterday about the Halloween parade, what time it is, where it's going to be, if our kids are going back to school or not, right? Like a month in advance.
Right.
I know what's going to be happening. And obviously as a working mom and a working dad, my husband as well, like that is so important for us. And it's like, yes, they have their stuff
together. Yeah.
And at the core of that is process and having things like aligned and documented and like repeatable, because they have a playbook that works every year. They're iterating on it, making it better based on feedback. But hey, at this time, this goes out, parents have enough notice. But like, and if we go back to my experience at the one that didn't have their stuff together, it would be like 2 days before, oh, bring the kids in, Christmas jammies or Halloween jammies. And I'm like, I don't have Halloween jammies. Like, okay, I'll go to Target right now. And then it's like constant stress. That's like, we got to get ahead of this.
Yes.
Yeah. And that goes back to
parents are stressed enough. They do not need a 48-hour notice to go get freaking Halloween jammies. And that's happening all the time, by the way. So
yes.
This is amazing. This is a great system that will help avoid all of those pain points, guys. So, I love that. And this episode is airing after the summit, I think, or maybe it's right before. Anyways, we're right around the time frame of the Childcare Success Summit. So you guys are going to be there again as a sponsoring booth.
Yes.
Right. So
we're really excited. And I'll just say, when my team comes back from the event, they love going so much. They love the community. They love talking to you all and like figuring out how to help you and just showing up and being a part of the community as well. And so we're excited to come back this year. I know we've got some fun things planned as well.
Yeah. Excited about that. That's awesome. What is on the horizon for you and your team? What are you excited about for the remainder and or 2026?
So from a product perspective, I think we're really excited about doubling down on the AI element. So that means more, I would say, agentic experiences with our AI. So like what can you ask it to do? Can you ask it to pull up a policy for you and update X, Y, and Z? Right. So like that's we're experimenting and trying to make sure that our customers have the latest technology to run their businesses as efficiently and scalably as possible. So like AI is a big focus for us. The one of the value props of Trainual versus say like a clunky LMS, so a learning management system. That's people ask us like, are you a learning management system? And the answer is yes and no. LMSs have typically been only for enterprise customers, aka very expensive tools.
Right.
And also typically they've only had like pre-built content. So it's not specific to how your center runs. It's just how maybe a center should run. And obviously think through your center and all of the nuances of even like drop off or how parents get in the door or how they sign out or sign in. It's so different.
Yeah.
And so Trainual is kind of like in the middle of having like content that's specific to your business and also offering pre-built content where it makes sense. And where that may make sense for your center is any sort of like compliance or things that you need to check the box of specific, anti-harassment training or anything like that. Like there's no need for you as a center owner or director to create that from scratch yourself. Like that's been done. We have that. So we recently launched pre-built courses. And so you can have both. You can buy pre-built courses or you can make your own. And we're going to be adding more courses there so that our customers have like exactly what they want. So there's been more requests around that. And then the other thing that we're really focused on is just integrations. Like we really understand that so many businesses have so many tools and it's overwhelming. And how do they work together and how is their efficiencies? And so we're really doubling down on integrating with tools that your center uses every day. And so that may mean for your payroll system that all of those users are automatically piped into Trainual, and so you don't have to like add people multiple times in multiple places.
Right.
That's what we're really excited as a business to bring forth.
That's very cool. I love that idea. Because the biggest pain point has always been all of these different systems and all of the replicated work of putting people in and out and updating all of the profiles for all of the customers and the employees and across all these different 18 systems.
Yeah. And there's one thing I don't like. This feature in Trainual doesn't get a ton of adoption, but I'm going to use this time to push it because I think there's such a good use case for childcare centers is that we have this option for any sort of training you create, a course. It's called public share. And so you can create a link that then you can share with anybody. And so they don't have to have a seat in Trainual. And so as a parent, it's like just having a link that's always up to date with even the handbook or like the policies that I'm agreeing to, or like a specific event that's coming up or holidays or anything like that, that you just go to the link and it's like literally everything you need to know. And then you know that it's always up to date. And you're not like resharing PDFs with parents and families. And I'm like downloading things, trying to figure out what's the latest.
Right.
So that's another
cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Extend the value of Trainual to not just your staff, but also the families.
Yeah. It's like version control and knowledge control and making sure that everybody has the latest, most up-to-date version. That's like huge. I love that. Very cool. Awesome. Well, is there anything that you didn't get a chance to share or any final thoughts that you have for our folks?
No, if anybody's interested in taking a deeper look at Trainual and isn't going to be at the event, just go to trainual.com/childcare. That's where you can find all the information. You can reach out to me personally. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you have any questions about, younger moms or families or what you're looking for.
Okay.
We have a really incredible team at Trainual. Our customer support and success teams are absolutely incredible as well. And so if you need anything, just reach out, and we look forward to seeing a lot of you at the event.
Okay, awesome. Well, Jami, this has been fantastic. Great conversation. I love kind of getting back to that mom's perspective, getting back to, what are those red flags and what are the green flags that is going to, and making sure everybody's in alignment on your team. And I love also what you said about not everything needs to be documented, but just the things that need to be repeatable and what's working. Like that was a drop of gold right there. So thank you so much for being here on the podcast today.
Thanks so much, Kris. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Hope you got some writer downers there and take action. And we will see you soon. Take care and God bless. I hope you liked this episode of Childcare Rockstar Radio. If you did, please leave a review and share it with someone you know to help spread the word to friends in our industry and on social media. Childcare business success is my passion, and I'm honored to be on this journey with you. As a thank you for listening, I've got a new video training that shows you how to add 6 figures or more of new revenue to your program in the next 60 days by improving your hiring and your enrollment systems. To watch my new video, just go to www.fixmyschool.com. That's fixmyschool.com. Thanks. Take care and God bless.